The San Jose Sharks have just made a trade, and they bring back one of their former goaltenders. We'll talk about that and what it means for the Sharks and what it could mean right now. This is a special edition of Teal Town Live. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday night, March 2nd, 2022. The San Jose Sharks have just executed a trade to reacquire Alex Stalock from the Edmonton Oilers. They send future considerations back to the Oilers. So let's get what this means right now on this edition of Teal Town Live. This is live and breaking, so we bring it to you right here on this YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Of course, you can chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app, and follow us on the social: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud. Of course, our Discord afterwards, and find everything at tealtownusa.com.
I have to say, I love the Photoshop skills of getting Alex Stalock to the Sharks. I think that was, the speed in which you did that. My hats are off to you, sir.
I wish I could take credit for that. It was somebody else, but hey, you know what? I'm joined by Reid. Ian, so this trade just came down about not even a half hour ago. Your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were, first, obviously, like, for those that don't know, and it's been brought up in the chat here by just another Andy G, sorry, that doesn't he have a heart condition? And yeah, so what happened with Alex Stalock recently was he had a really bad bout of COVID, and then after his bout of COVID, he ended up with a condition called myocarditis, which I have no idea what it means, but it sounds like it's bad. Because it has like the itis in it, which, things that ends in itis generally aren't good. Meningitis, things like endonitis, they're not good. Tendonitis, like none of these things you want, right? Especially when it has to do with your heart. I know that he was starting to play this year in the AHL, finally got back to being cleared to play. Hasn't been fantastic in the AHL, but I mean, the team's won, which is good, but his goals against average and save percentage is certainly nothing to write home about. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. My initial thought was, Alex Stalock's retiring. And, this weird thing that we do now where it's like, what city did you really love to play in? San Jose. Okay, cool. We'll send you there for future considerations and we're done. But then you brought to my attention what Joe Will had to say about the trade, and I'll let you spout that off. And obviously that kind of takes the whole retirement thing out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite interesting as to what Joe Will said on here, and I'm trying to pull it up. In the media release, he says, the acquisition of Alex gives our club another goaltender with significant NHL experience, said Joe Will. Or as Strick would say, Joe Will! He is a player we are very familiar with and someone who's extremely well-liked by his teammates. For those who aren't aware, in about turn twist of fate, Alex Stalock, and we were talking about this last night. He was traded along with Jeremy Morin to the Toronto Maple Leafs for James Reimer.
That's right.
When they made their 2016 Cup run. So the interesting twist of fate that Ian, he's basically kind of maybe filling in for Reimer.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously that would take me to my next thought. My initial thought was he's retiring. What a nice thing, nice to bring him back to town. Now it's like, well, obviously the James Reimer news isn't good. And, how far is Hill off at this point? I know Hill's supposed to practice. But is this a case of, and again, we're just wildly speculating here, so get comfy and grab your speculation popcorn. But, is this them saying, okay, we don't think that Reimer's going to be good anytime soon, and we don't have faith in Hill to carry the load the rest of the way?
Yeah. I mean, your concern, they're expected to have Aiden Hill practice tomorrow or Thursday at Sharks Ice to see how he's doing. We thought he was going to be ready to go, last week, and he wasn't able to. And as been well documented, Reimer played 13 straight games, and now he is out with an injury. We'll find out the significance of that injury tomorrow after they skate at Sharks Ice.
I can't imagine the news being good on the Reimer front.
If you're reacquiring a goaltender,
yeah,
which is very concerned, and I hate to say it. I mean, it's you needed to do this trade a little bit better if you don't have any confidence in starting Sachenko. You won't start with talking about Melnichuk or Zachary Amon from the Barracuda. So,
yeah, and I wonder. And this could be an interest. And I wonder if this is a move to maybe solidify things down in the Barracuda level too, right? Or God, maybe they're bringing Melnichuk up. I have no idea. There's so many different possibilities at this point.
Yeah, and there's a couple of comments in the chat. We were talking about what was the condition again called that he had?
Myocarditis.
Myocarditis. That it was a heart wall inflammation.
Yeah.
That he dealt with.
Yep.
Randy G, thank you, my friend, for that. He's also saying, could this mean Aiden Hill isn't close?
Yeah, I mean, this definitely raises the specter of Aiden Hill not being as close as they think he is, and obviously they don't have any faith in throwing either Melnichuk or there's a lot of games left, right? This isn't last season where Kozanash got a little bit of a run in the last month of the year, right?
Right.
There's 30 what? Not quite
there's
30, but
28 games left.
Yeah, 28 games. So almost 30 games left to play, right? This is there's a long road still ahead of this team, much longer than I hoped it would be at this point, honestly. But yeah, there's a lot of games left, obviously. So I think that this is definitely a desperation move. And look, I mean, Alex Stalock, perfectly fine. I think that is it a step down from Reimer? Of course it is. Aiden Hill's been such a Jekyll and Hyde goalie this year that I don't want to say Hill is he's going to be significantly better or worse than Aiden Hill, just because I don't know what Aiden Hill's going to come back from injury.
Right. And he wasn't even suited up for this game that played at Sharks Ice at San Jose, where the Kuhre beat the Condors 5-3. Ironically enough, that Bakersfield is in town right now.
Yeah.
So.
He doesn't even have to get on a plane; it just stays. I mean, nice for him.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to see and nice to have him available. He'll probably just stay the night at a hotel and then practice with the team on Thursday. But yeah, this just adds in. I mean, the trade itself is one thing, but this just adds in a little more speculation to what's going on with Reimer and Hill and everybody.
I mean, and I mean, last night when we did After Dark, I encourage anyone to go back and listen to that show, because we talked about Sachenko, and a lot of people, obviously their first reaction is, why not Sachenko? What does Sachenko have to do to get a chance? And the beauty of the internet is it never forgets. So you can either stay on this YouTube channel and go back and watch yesterday's show, or you can afterwards, of course, don't stop watching now. I mean, I can't believe there's 33 of you guys here to talk about Alex Stalock. I mean, I love you guys. But what I say, or you can go and listen to it, wherever your podcast from and all that stuff. And now that I've done shilling for Teal Town, the Cole's notes of what I said yesterday, Zachary Sachenko was a guy that they don't see a future in. And so what they did was, in order to make sure that guys like Melnichuk and Kozanash last year, obviously, were still playing, they needed a guy on the taxi squad. So they gave Zachary Sachenko a ton of money to ride the pine and be on the taxi squad for the team.
Yep.
That way, the goalies that they thought had a future would continue to play. And this kind of reaffirms that, right? Like, instead of maybe not, like, maybe Sachenko gets to go back to the A at this point, or maybe it's going to be a tandem of Hill and Stalock, or is it Stalock and Sachenko's going to ride the pine? That's what we're going to see going forward. I mean, in the immediate future, I'm guessing it's going to be Alex Stalock playing and Sachenko backing up.
Yep.
And we'll see if Stalock, it's a great opportunity for him, because he gets a chance to really put his career back on the map, right?
Big time.
So, I mean, you got to love the opportunity for him, but like, the Sharks just don't see anything in Sachenko. And if they did, they don't make this trade.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it. And granted, the Barracuda has been dealing with all the Sharks injuries and having depth issues up the yin yang too. It's tough to put a pin on what really the Sharks are doing with this. But I mean, good to see Al get back into things. It's like you said, a great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I have all the time in the world for Alex Stalock. I mean, again, like, good dude, generally a good dude. Maybe not the greatest goaltender. I think, look, this is a Band-Aid solution, right? This isn't something that I don't think the Sharks would want to do unless they absolutely had to. Obviously, the price was right. Future considerations,
absolutely
fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong there. But I mean, this kind of goes to show, though, I mean, when you look at a situation, and I'm not putting James Reimer and Alex Stalock in the same situation, though, but I've been saying a lot, like, for the people that wanted James Reimer to be dealt at the deadline, like, goalies generally don't get a return, even when a team seems like they're bent over the barrel, which the Sharks absolutely were.
Yeah.
If James Reimer can't play and Adin Hill is not close, they were absolutely bent over a barrel. And you got future considerations.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing, and as I'm looking at Cap Friendly, with Sachenko still listed as a goaltender on the team, they're at the limit on roster size. They're at 23 of 23. I would assume that
there will be a corresponding move tomorrow.
Yeah, I would assume
like James Reimer is going on the IR. If James Reimer is not going on the IR, then they're not making this move. Period.
Man, which is tough to swallow because Reimer's been a heck of a goaltender for this team, keeping them in it as much as they have been. They could be worse than Seattle if it weren't for Reimer, to be quite honest.
Yeah. It's. No, it wasn't. Yeah. You what was the trade for him? Because there was two trades, and I think that the thing with the Reimer trade before was, like, the Reimer trade wasn't that. There was two separate trades. There was Spalling and
Pollock,
and I think that's where the second was. And then there was another trade it was for Reimer for Stalock and what else was it?
Jeremy Morin.
Yes, Jeremy Morin. Yeah.
And Reimer came back. I'm trying to pull it up right now with the trade, so forgive me for it here. But I mean, Reimer kind of gave the extra, there was two separate trades, and I think that, I mean, you could say whatever, like, these trades were constructed differently, but I remember the Reimer trade specifically. The second was in the Spalling Pollock deal. Yeah, it was Reimer and Jeremy Morton to San Jose for Alex Stalock, Ben Smith, and a conditional 2018 fourth round pick, which I think it escalated more the more and more the Sharks advanced.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we're going to find out more as we go forward. But obviously, this isn't great news. Obviously, you can, again, I mean, we talked about this on the show last night. Obviously there was opportunities where you probably could have gave Reimer a rest, but that's not to say like we'll never know. I mean, we can speculate and we can strongly feel that this is Bob Boughner's fault, but James Reimer is a guy who unfortunately has had little bumps and bruises that have caused him to miss games over the past few years.
Right.
I mean, ideally maybe, so not starting him nonstop was probably, I mean, that's what I would have done. But I mean, the Sharks are where they are now. The injury bug has bit them pretty hard this year.
Yeah.
And desperate teams do desperate things, and this is definitely a desperation move for the Sharks.
Yeah, and Dana, jokingly, I could see, since everyone and their grandma is on IR.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong, because here's the list. Where is it? Here. Erik Karlsson, Kevin Labanc, Aiden Hill, Rudolph Balcers, Mario Ferraro, Nikolai Knizhov. We thought we were going to see back in November and has not come back. Jacob Magna.
Jonathan
Dahlen. I'm surprised some of these guys haven't been put on LTIR to make more room to be that, and Dana mentioning it earlier, to use the extra cap space to facilitate a three-way trades at the deadline to pick up a few more assets.
Yeah, they have to be careful though, because like when you have this many guys injured, like you have to be really careful with how you use your LTR space, because obviously you can't let it dip you below the cap either, like the cap floor.
True, that's true.
And I think that doesn't get mentioned a lot. I think the Sharks will be fine as far as weaponized cap space goes. Like they're going to have cap space to weaponize for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, having, just from Evander Kane being gone, you can weaponize that cap space at the deadline, because we don't know how that's going to resolve itself, but it's likely not going to resolve itself before the season's over. So it's a next year problem.
Yeah, the projected cap space, according to Cap Friendly, stands about a little over $4.5 million. According to Cap Friendly, the deadline cap space is at $22 million, which is quite interesting.
I don't know why they haven't used but they really haven't used any of their LTIR space. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I don't know.
That's the thing. That's why I'm like so curious as to that not being used, but
So I speculate. Like I don't know. Like you don't lose game. Yeah, I don't know.
So to reiterate, if you're just joining us, the Sharks have facilitated a trade. Well, heaven forbid I forgive not putting Kevin in here.
We have a trade to announce.
And that's San Jose acquiring Alex Stalock from the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for future considerations. Again, tomorrow post-practice media call will be very interesting to hear
fascinating, yeah.
To hear what's going on. And now the speculation begins. Who starts Saturday night for Nashville?
I have no idea. Like I don't know. And that's the thing. I mean, I would guess if you're bringing in Alex Stalock, I feel like that's probably the guy you're putting in net.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be Stalock, right?
It would have to be.
I don't think you're bringing in Stalock to back up Sachenko.
Unless Stalock isn't quite ready for it yet, or I don't know. I mean, but yeah, we've talked about Sachenko, but what's his head thinking like right now? I mean, to have them go pick up a goaltender who has been in limbo with Edmonton and Bakersfield all year.
He knows the score.
Yeah.
Sachenko knows the score, man. Like, it's not like, I mean, again, like, would I be opposed to Zachary Sachenko getting a start here? No, I have no issues with that. But that's not that isn't what the Sharks want to do. Obviously, if they were confident that he could do it, or that that he was good enough to be in there, if Bob Bugner and Evgeny Nabokov and whoever else they have in their little goaltending brain trust thought that he was good enough to be in, doesn't he start against Seattle?
Yeah, last Sunday. Yeah.
Right? Like, doesn't he start against Seattle? Like, Zachary Sachenko knows the score, man. And and again, like I said last night, and I'll say it again, credit to him. He hasn't got to play a ton of hockey in the last couple of years, and he's handled it like an absolute pro. Everyone in the locker room seems to love him. Like, he's done everything he's been asked of and more. And I can't give the guy enough credit for that.
Yeah.
He gets to be at the NHL and have that goaltending brain trust for the NHL team to help him on his game whenever he goes back to doing whatever it is he's going to do next, right?
Right.
Can't go wrong.
No.
Like he's got, I mean, it's a great deal for him. I understand people being like really upset that he hasn't gotten an opportunity, considering he's handled himself quite well when he's been called upon, but the Sharks just don't see it. And that's at the end of the day, that's what's up.
Do you, as I look on Cap Friendly, he's waivers exempt. Do you see him maybe getting some playing time with the Kuhre to just get some playing time in and maybe bring up Melnichuk to back up? Or
the thought did cross my mind that maybe he's going to go down and play some games for the Barracuda while Melnichuk comes up. But anything's possible at this point, right? This rampant speculation show, because we really won't know anything until tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is going to be, like we said, it's going to be quite interesting as tomorrow unfolds for sure, and Friday for that matter, and the morning skate on Saturday as we find out who will be starting. AJ, time to break out my Stalock jersey from the closet and hunt down those "there is no key for the Stalock" memes.
Yep.
We're gonna party like it's 2015 all over again. So
or the book that Chester Cheevo made, The Wonderful Adventures of Alex Stalock, who is notorious for wandering out of his net. Just no one knows where he's going.
What is it with Sharks goaltenders that wear 32 wandering around? I don't know. So
I don't know. It is what it is.
It is what it is. We'll leave it at that there. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Of course, please hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. It really does go a long way. And of course, if you're not watching this live, you're watching this later, give us a thumbs up and a comment about what you think the Sharks will be doing with Alex Stalock in the near future. So with that, Ian, final thoughts as we get a request to send us out with Ian playing a song.
Not happening. My son is running around upstairs, who just woke up. So if I start playing my bass, my wife will destroy me. Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to see where things go from here, to see what the master plan is, because I don't know what the master plan is anymore with this team. But about the comments, I mean, definitely leave comments. I try to respond to as many comments as I can. So if you're looking to carry on the conversation after the show, and maybe you're not on Twitter or whatever, leave a comment under the show, and I will be happy to try and respond and clarify anything that you may think that I didn't explain well on the show.
And we'll be doing that. And I appreciate you as always, Ian, coming on. Well, I mean, it's 12:26 in the morning.
I was just about to go to bed, but that's fine.
So he's going to go to bed. I should probably go to bed as well for work tomorrow. But we do this for you. We keep when news breaks, we are here to break it for you here. So if you haven't subscribed already, please.
When news breaks, we fix it.
That's right. With Gorilla Glue and game worn jersey from 2016. I don't know. So we'll we will reconvene whenever news breaks, but for sure Saturday night following Sharks and Predators. Whoever gets that starting goaltender, it's going to be the interesting story. So until next time, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you this weekend.